Jason's in Chicago. What's it like for the first time you had a quarterback that you could really be excited about? Like, I feel like y'all could have been excited about Justin Fields, but deep down you knew. You know what I'm saying? But this different. Y'all got the one that everybody wanted.
Yeah, it's that phase where you see a lot of people who ain't ever had a pretty girl in their life. So it's like, oh, this is the greatest thing of all time. Isn't it going to be amazing? It's like, hey, let's get through this relationship. Listen, the things that he is apparently doing in certain moments of these padded practices leading up to the Hall of Fame game have been astounding. There's been some throws that have made their way to the internet that usually Bears fans aren't used to seeing their favorite team making. But there's also the fact that he's, Matt Eberflus has mentioned there's been some verbiage issues. There, things they need to clean up. And he's going up against a defense who, they got something to prove too. So there's going to be a rookie season happening here, right? But the fact that Hard Knocks is here, the fact that the number one pick, like Ryan Poles, by the way, like a guy who I was like, not true. Like, all right, let's see how this works. Let's see how this goes. Because I've seen Bears ownership hire general managers before. That man, he's having himself like a Jim Finks, Jay Venisi kind of, this is about to be something kind of run here, right? You got cornerstones that are locked up for 4 or 5 years. Got DJ Moore his money. You showing people if you play well, that you're going to get paid in this locker room. Caleb Williams, Kevin Byard, the safety that they just signed, mentioned that Caleb Williams, when they were breaking the team down, said to everybody, hey, y'all, we leaving shit around too much. We leaving towels around. We leaving water bottles around. The custodians got a hard enough job. Let's try to pick up after ourselves a little bit. And if he is feeling like that, and the vibe is changing around there, we've seen 7-9, 8-8 for most of our lives as Bears fans. So if that's changing, we got a right to be happy. But it is an overdrive, and it feels kind of weird, right? It feels unsettling, to say the least.
Well, an important point to make about Caleb Williams, and I know that this in a lot of ways applies to a lot of dudes, but I think it applies to him in an extra way. He 100% believe he the coldest. Like I think that's the thing that people need to get and understand. And for Chicago, that'll be interesting to see. He, number one, think that, like, he was mad when he got to Oklahoma. He was behind Spencer Rattler. And keep in mind, we were going into that year with Spencer Rattler thinking Spencer Rattler was going to be the number one overall pick. And there are a lot of people who still think that Spencer Rattler can turn into a good quarterback. Caleb Williams was furious. Why? Not just because he thought that he was better than Spencer Rattler. He thought he was the best quarterback in the whole country. Walking in the door, he thought he was the coldest. I bet he feels that same way about the NFL.
And why shouldn't he though, Bo? Like, you see this Sunday Night Football promo they threw out there with all the quarterbacks on the promo? Like, they got Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and then all of a sudden you see that wishbone C helmet. You're like, wait a minute, hold on now. That's we all at the crib. You know what it is? It's like when a player gets to the Big Ten from the crib and he playing at Michigan State, he playing in Michigan, and he get a couple of snaps and everybody be like, hey, he's stopping people. You see him? Hey, I used to cut his hair. Like, we not used to this shit as Bears fans. Like, wait a minute. Look, a Bears quarterback right there next to Patrick Mahomes. So, he should feel that way.
Y'all got dudes.
He should feel that way.
And y'all got dudes.
His team ain't chump. Shout out to Nick Wright. And shout out to Danny Parkins. Shout out to all the Syracuse grads out there who are upping the over-under total every time they talk about this team. But, man, I think this is that year where you find out who can and can't be the coach. And it's because you got dudes. Cole Kmet was the best player on this team on the offense 2.5 years ago. Now you got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Darnell Wright, by the way, sitting over there at right tackle. You go back and look at what he did last year with a bum shoulder as a rookie coming out of Tennessee. When even I was like, hey, that Carter kid about to wreck shop in the NFL for 15 years, you need a 3 technique, take him. All right, they didn't think their locker room was ready. Darnell Wright has the chance to be a perennial Pro Bowl right tackle, and he's going into his second year. Like, Montez Sweat got his bread. TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. You look at coverage linebackers last year, name me 2 better. Like they did some things. And Tyreek Stevenson, who also came from the Bryce Young trade, like he got that real Miami cornerback kind of feel and back it up with playmaking. Jalen Johnson got paid. Jaquan Brisker is a missile. He throw himself into everything. Like it's visions of, old school Bob Sanders without it being old school Bob Sanders, by the way, because Bob was a wrecking ball. But like there's some cats, man. Bob, listen, Matt Bowen has told me stories about Bob Sanders at Iowa that defy, like on some, Herculean type football shit. So, but the Bears got some dudes, man. It's a good feeling. It's a weird feeling, right? It's a weird feeling. You ain't used to that date and you get that second one. It's like, all right, should I show my true self?
I will say this, though. You do sound like every other team. Everybody be talking about their team like this at this time. Boy, that boy right there. Oh, boy, you ain't never seen the, oh, boy. I tell you, boy, that one boy, boom.
They might have it, though, Bo. I mean, think about where you thought the Lions were 2 years ago. Your team, the Detroit Lions, right? Think about where they were 2 years ago. Penei Sewell getting on people's radar like, hey, that's the man over there, And Jared Goff, he stabilizes, figures his thing out. You get yourself a coach who everybody was laughing at, and all of a sudden you look around and he's assembled one of the best coaching staffs in football. The general manager looks like he's got his shit together, like the NFC North. Jordan, argue with me and tell me Jordan Love ain't getting ready to be, top 2 and maybe not 2 in the NFC this year in terms of quarterbacks. Yeah. Like
he looks the part.
Ryan Poles knew what he had to do. He had to fix this thing quick. And, shout out to Carolina for making it possible.
Hey, man, speaking of things that need to be fixed, I ain't realized this till we were talking about this before the show because I ain't really been paying no attention to baseball, but I had no idea that the Chicago White Sox are quite possibly the worst baseball team in America. And I didn't say the worst baseball team in the big leagues. I said the worst baseball team in America, like relative to their peers. They are 40 games, 27-83. They are 40 games out of first place. The top run differential in the league for good teams is the Yankees at a plus 117, and the White Sox are at a minus 222. Nobody else in the American League is worse than minus 92.
Yeah, it's a monumentally historically bad baseball season. And I got to be honest with you, I blame a lot of it on you. Ever since you talked to Tim Anderson, things have gone wayward for the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, no. Don't think you're just going to roll that little grenade in here on us and then close the door. No. Ever since you and Jose Ramirez had a conversation with him, and since then, like, Bo, this is supposed to be, I remember in 2017, 2018, going on local Sunday night sports television here and saying, hey, 2020, that's y'all ass, though, because they had so many things in the pipeline. This was supposed to be the realization of the window right now. And in that time, they hired Tony La Russa, which nobody else in baseball would have done. Tony, I think, is still in some consultant form because Jerry Reinsdorf felt bad about firing him 30 years ago. They're in a situation where, goes from Kenny Williams to Rick Hahn. Rick Hahn, is a guy who people respected, but couldn't quite get over the hump, and then it became cantankerous in terms of relationship with a fan base that we already got the second-class citizen feel here in this city when it comes to Cubs versus Sox, but we thought something was getting ready to happen. You had prospects, you had the young face of baseball like Tim Anderson, you trade for Eloy Jimenez. I remember him hitting the home run against the Cubs at Wrigley Field to win the game in the Crosstown Classic. Like, this is a seminal moment, like it's getting ready to happen, and then all of a sudden, Jose Ramirez sleeps my man. Things go wayward. You got players lying about sleeping in the dugout. You got now a situation where Chris Getz looks at Garrett Crochet, the starter that would have yielded the most, and says that he used hurtful tactics by saying that he wanted a contract extension shortly before the trade deadline. It's like, wait a minute. Are you big boy enough to do this gig or not? Like, it seems like the White Sox have been playing with doing things in a very mom and pop kind of way for a long time, and they just stumbled into some talent. but it has all gone downhill. And now they have the worst record in 104, 105 years. Like, we're talking about dead ball era stuff here. Monumentally bad baseball going on in this city. And it's the first time since I was 12 years old that I haven't watched a full game. I got to be honest with you.
Are they just bad or are they funny bad? Like, a bad baseball team can be hysterical. Like, watching I grew up watching the Braves, man. Like, so when they out here booting it, kicking it to each other, there ain't nobody in the crowd, and you can hear what the fans are saying on the microphones. You know what I'm saying? You see real long home runs by other team. I saw Darryl Strawberry hit a home run off the Braves once that I believe is still flying. I just can't believe it. Like, it was one of those. And Darryl Strawberry hitting the baseball on the button, nothing has ever looked like that before, because he was 6'6" with those crazy long arms. And if those arms got all the way out, and he was diesel, and he messed around and caught that, it didn't feel like anything could ever be quite like when Darryl Strawberry hit it to the moon. And I just remember it was the first time that I'd ever heard an announcing crew refer to a home run as a monumental shot, and they did it like 5 times.
Nah, the straw was the man. Nah, it's not fun bad, unfortunately, because it's sad bad. It's because they're also in a position where no matter how much losing they do, because of Major League Baseball rules and tanking and how they've actually done an effective job of making sure tanking doesn't happen, they are guaranteed no higher than the top 10 pick next year for all this losing. So you got trades that aren't being made. The team's not fun. There's no accountability. There's no personalities, truly. That's the other thing. Like, I've been listening to you talk a lot lately. And I think I got back to this place as well after I jumped out of the radio thing, of finding the fun in these games and these things that we talk about again, man, and like humanizing these things. The Sox are bereft of fun, bro. Like, Luis Robert, dude, they got Luis Robert Jr. on his IG before he got here was sitting at his mom, Cuban deco style table, right? No shirt on, baseball pants, gold chains, rippling muscles. We thought we was getting Latin Bo Jackson, and then he turned into it last year. Look at what Luis Robert Jr.'s numbers have been. This is a sad baseball town to play in when it's bad, man. I'm telling you, and the fun has been ripped out of it, and also people have had issues with the broadcaster in his first year here, John Triffin, and how enthusiastic he is, or all those things. Like, it's just it's not a good vibe. Right. And during times that Sox baseball was cool, it was always a good vibe, man. It was a fun vibe. You had Hawk doing his homespun thing. You had the greatest right-hand hitter that I had ever seen in Frank Thomas. You had Maglio Ordonez. Like, you had dudes who you knew was going to put up numbers and maybe just fall short sometimes, but bust their ass, win a World Series. Right. But man, you knew it was going to be a vibe. Like, you knew it was going to be a team that you could rock with, that you felt attached to. There has been no attachment, and there's been an aloof kind of just unmistakable apathy that's been going on in this city for the last couple of years, baseball-wise. And I think this should be rock bottom, but we'll see what next year brings.